a notorious Liverpool crime family, armed themselves with guns stolen from the army and lived a high level after peddling drugs close to a primary school playgrounds. The Whitney family and their gang associates spent years at the top of a massive Anfield-based criminal network, which had a stranglehold across much of Liverpool. The gang made selling heroin and crack cocaine a 24-hour business, running a cash and carry style operation. However, the gang, which was led by Paul Whitney, largely crumbled in 2011 when 13 members of the gang were handed sentences totaling of 82 years. But following his release from prison, Paul Whitney instantly re-entered the criminal underworld, immersing himself once again as a high-level drug supplier, now using encrypted messaging platform EncroChat. However, in December 2022, he was jailed once again, this time for nearly 15 years, as part of a series that looks at Liverpool's criminal history. The Echo has taken a closer look at the Whitney Gang and the control they had on Liverpool during the 90s. For the Whitneys, it was a family affair. Paul headed up the gang with assistance of key family members and a number of trusted associates. His mum Carol was dubbed the banker, hoarding the gang's money. Her daughter Lisa acted as a street dealer, while Leslie Whitney, Carol's estranged husband, lived in one of the gang's known safehouses on Watford Road in Anfield. Other members included Lisa's boyfriend, Wayne Hinks, Leslie's new girlfriend, Emma Mackenzie, and her mum, Mary McCabe. Beyond members of the extended family and their partners were Matthew Mayer, Michael O'Toole, Michael Waters, Gary Edwards, Neil Brady, and Thomas Dowd. The firm often dealt in close proximity to Pinehurst Primary School in Anfield. Paul Whitney conducted his business using no less than 17 different mobile phones. He had no official job, and according to reports from the time, seemed to spend much of his time fishing. With a number of safehouses on Watford Road, Hildebrand Road, Cherry Lane, and City Road, his operation ran a cash and carry system, trading with customers on the street corners. Body armour was later recovered at the home of Carol Whitney, while the family also kept an SA-80 military assault rifle stolen from Salisbury Army Barracks in 2005 and stashed in the Cherry Lane home of widow and Nan McCabe. Officers also discovered 1,200 rounds of ammunition in a suitcase hidden in her car, where some expanding bullets designed to cause maximum damage upon impact. It was suspected that the Whitneys employed younger, scooter-riding teenagers to orchestrate attacks and possibly even shootings to warn off other dealing factions. Those at the top of the hierarchy enjoyed the trappings of luxury funded by their ill-gotten gains. O'Toole lived in a plush home on Badow Croft in Molten, an exclusive property that boasted a private driveway and high-security gates in an area popular with football stars. He owned several mobile phones, a Cartier watch, and travel documents for Las Vegas, Dubai, and Spain. The rent on his house reportedly totaled more than $1,000 a month, paid in cash. O'Toole visited the United Arab Emirates for a holiday before the empire came crashing down, with photos showing him riding on a camel and quad bikes and staying at five-star hotel, dressing in designer labels and taking luxury holidays. He was not the only one spending his illicit cash. Mayer lived in Haydock in a house with manicured lawns, with a Harley Davidson parked in his garage. His house was furnished extensively with plasma screens, including one installed in a wet room, costing £270,000. Paul Whitney, meanwhile, lived in a sought-after road in the A-Tree area. The Whitneys had been in Merseyside Police's sight for years, with Operation Molten launched in 2008. In a bid to take them down, the force began taking out the levels below, stripping each rung, before eventually reaching the top. Police began to watch a gang who, operating under the Whitney umbrella, sold heroin on the streets of Scotland, cutting the drugs and ferrying them up to Dundee, where they used addicts to peddle their wares. When police took out the lowly street dealers of the drugs, which were also being passed in Merseyside, they were simply replaced by others, but their operation took a big hit when 21-year-old Stephen Harrison from Anfield and Kirby man Lee Holden, a cousin of the Whitneys, were taken out along with the rest of the crew, 9 more men and a woman. A total of 12 people, including former Southport FC striker Terry Ferns, were given 60 years of prison time in June 2010, with one part of the pyramid gone. The police kept looking up towards the Whitneys, this time acting on community intelligence. The police looked closer to the home on the streets of Anfield and Molten, taking out another 14 dealers, put them a step closer to the main targets. The Whitney Gang was kept under surveillance by detectives from the Forces Matrix Gun and Gang Crime Unit, who recorded hours of damning evidence. Police seemed well aware of the Whitneys' capabilities, particularly during one raid when officers smashed through the front window of the house on Watford Road, knowing the front door was reinforced deliberately to hinder such forced entries. A series of raids on a number of safehouses also discovered large quantities of heroin and ecstasy-type tablets, an assault rifle with ammunition, body armour and a CS gas canister. In total, Merseyside Police stormed 4 properties, including raids on Cherry Lane, Hildebrand Road, City Road. All the locations acted as hiding places for heroin and crack cocaine, fake ecstasy tablets, the firearm and ammunition, and huge amounts of cash amassed by the Whitneys. In total, 12 kilograms of heroin was recovered by police during the whole sting, equivalent to 600,000 when sold on the streets of Liverpool. Detectives recovered cocaine, which would have resulted in 100,000 profit, and 47 kilograms of bash, a substance used in the adulteration process to dilute Class A drugs to lower the purity and boost profits. On November the 22nd, 2011, Judge John Roberts jailed the 13 members of the Whitney Gang for a total of 82 years and 3 months. Paul Whitney was handed 9 years and 4 months, while Mayer received 8 years and 4 months. Harold Whitney was locked up for 8 years, and O'Toole got 8 years. Leslie Whitney was jailed for 7.5 years, while Mackenzie was sentenced to 834 days in prison. McCabe was sentenced to 8 years for her part in the conspiracy and for possession of a prohibited firearm. Whitney and Edwards were each given 4 years, while Waters was sentenced to 5 years and 4 months. Brady was jailed for 6 years and 9 months. Inks got 6 years and 8 months, and Dowd received 4 years and 4 months. Speaking at the conclusion of the Whitney Gang sentencing, Detective Chief Superintendent Tony Doherty said, "This family is so dangerous that guns and drugs are a part of their daily business. The Whitneys are an unpleasant family, significant in the Anfield area. Their reputation was well known. They were an organised crime group that needed taken apart." One of the last remaining members of the gang, still on the run, was extradited from Spain. In 2011, Anthony Whitney fled Liverpool after police raided a safe house in the City Road, home of co-conspirator Thomas Dowd. He fled to Spain after jumping from an upstairs bedroom window when police raided one of the gang's Anfield's crack factories after hours of secret observation. Anthony Whitney lay low in Spain, while his relatives were gradually rounded up by Merseyside police. But while abroad, he got mixed up in another smuggling plot and was apprehended for smuggling 50,000 tablets of ecstasy-type substance, which had been loaded into a vehicle at his home address in Dinea. He was extradited back to the UK to face justice for his part in the Merseyside drugs operation. The Whitney named faded following their convictions. However, in 2022, the former ringleader of the gang, Paul Whitney, appeared back before the court after he was identified as the user of EncroChat handle Bullet Hawk. The court heard he again had a network of couriers and drivers at his disposal. After the authorities gained access to the underground messaging service, officers executed a search warrant at his house on Clock Tower Drive in Molten on March 30th, 2021, his 43rd birthday. On this occasion, Whitney answered the door and replied, "It's my birthday. This is a joke." Merseyside police seized 600 in cash, a quantity of cannabis and several expensive motorbikes during the raid. A previous visit in August 2020 had unearthed monies totaling 15,000 in a locked cupboard, as well as a number of high-value goods. The court heard that Whitney had been involved in the supply of at least 4 kilograms of heroin, 1 kilogram of cocaine, 30 kilograms of cannabis, and 2 kilograms of ketamine. It had previously been suspected that the then 44-year-old may have been concerned in the supply of up to 83 kilograms of Class A drugs alone. The handles of 38 other service users had been stored in his EncroChat phone, and he was found to have been in contact with around half of these. Whitney admitted conspiracy to supply cocaine, heroin, ketamine, and cannabis, and conspiracy to launder money. During an earlier hearing, he was jailed for 14 years and 9 months. As the sentence was handed down, the defendant shook his head and said that's a effing joke. Detective Inspector Peter McCulloch said, "This is a welcome result in the latest court sentencing for Whitney, who we put before the court for his drug dealing crimes. Whitney demonstrated that he had a significant role. He thought he could fly under the radar and escape justice." Please like this video, please comment, and don't forget to subscribe to my crime channel. Thank you.